Hello everyone, welcome back to Showscape for another recap video. Today let's recap Unbreakable. The story begins in Philadelphia where a woman gives birth to a baby who has sustained fractures inside the uterus during labor, resulting in broken arms and legs. 3 decades later, David Dunn, a security guard at the local college stadium whose marriage is falling apart, is traveling in East Rail 177 to Philadelphia from New York, which suddenly speeds up and derails. David wakes up in a hospital learning about this and is told there were only 2 people who were rushed to the hospital alive, out of which the other person's skull is cracked up and is sure not to live. But David did not sustain a single injury, making him the sole survivor of the horrific accident. At the memorial service held for the families of East Rail 177 victims, David finds an invite on his car's windshield to an art gallery dedicated to comic books called Limited Edition, owned by Elijah Price, the baby who was born with his arms and legs broken. Inside the invite, a note asking David how many days of his life he has been sick. Meanwhile, David realizes he has not been physically ill ever. David and his son Joseph meet Elijah at his art gallery. Elijah tells David he was looking for miraculous survivors from plane crashes to hotel fires until he heard about David from East Rail 177, an unharmed sole survivor. Elijah tells David he has a condition called osteogenesis imperfecta, which makes his bones low in density that breaks easy. In total, he had 54 fractures in his life so far. He believes that there is someone in the world who is just opposite of him, who does not get sick or hurt, who is simply unbreakable, like a comic book superhero. Elijah suggests David could be that person. David takes him to be a fraud and leaves. Meanwhile, David's wife Audrey thinks him surviving was a sign and wants to give their marriage another chance. Elijah does not give up and pursues convincing David at the stadium where he works. He starts explaining his comic book theories to David. The nature of the job David did simply involves protecting people. He suggests David chose it because of his inner instincts. David bumps into a suspicious guy on the line and tells the security at the end of the line to start patting people. They watch as the guy sees everyone being patted down and leaves the line. Elijah asks David why he did that, and David tells him that when he bumped him, he had an image of him carrying a gun, silver body with a black grip, and if he carried any weapon then he would not want to be caught by the security. David goes back to work and Elijah follows the guy David bumped into. They go down a long flight of stairs. Elijah falls, shattering his leg and breaking several bones, and the last thing he sees is the man's handgun, just as David described it. Elijah was right. Seems like David does have some kind of special gift. Meanwhile, David is working out with weights at home. His son, now obsessed with the idea of his dad being a superhero, puts 250 pounds of weights to see how strong he is. David asks him to take off some, but instead Joseph keeps adding weights. Eventually, they discover David has the strength to bench press 350 pounds. Elijah is treated by Audrey, David's wife, to whom he tells everything that he has told David. He also learns that David was a star football player while they were dating, and they were in a car accident due to icy roads, which ended his football career. David gets a call from his son's school that his son has been hurt. The school nurse remembers him being a kid from the same school. Because of David, they had to put up strict rules around the pool. He had fallen in the pool and was left to drown by some bullies. He was found at the bottom of the pool passed out, but somehow survived. David tells this story to Elijah that he can get hurt, but Elijah tells him every superhero has at least one weakness, and that David's was water. Water from the pool and the water from the icy roads. David breaks into the train station where they keep the wrecked trains to examine them. He tries to recall his car crash from years earlier and remembers that he wasn't hurt at all. In fact, he had used his superhuman strength to rip off the car door with his bare hands to rescue Audrey from the burning car. David tells Elijah he was right. He has never been sick or injured in any way. Elijah tells him that it is no coincidence that David is in the security profession. He needs to go to where people are and protect them. David wears a hooded raincoat, kind of his superhero costume, and goes to the station. Hundreds of people are passing by, and whenever someone bumps into David, he has a vision of that person doing something evil, like theft, assault, and rapes. When a maintenance guy bumps into him, David gets a horrifying vision of the man going to someone's home and killing the homeowner. David follows the man as he leaves from work. He goes inside a random house and David follows him inside. He finds the homeowner dead, just as he visioned. He goes upstairs inside a bedroom and sees 2 girls, who seem to be the homeowner's daughters, tied up in their bathroom. He unties them and rescues them. In another room, he finds the wife in a similar way. Before he can do anything, the maintenance guy sneaks up from behind, pushes David from the balcony, and he falls inside a swimming pool. He gets strangled by the winter cover and starts drowning. It seems like his weakness is going to end him, but the two sisters slide down a pole and David gets out by grabbing it. David goes back upstairs and strangles the man to death. He unties the mother to save her, but she is already dead. The next morning, while having breakfast, David slides the newspaper over to his son. The headline reads of a mystery hero that saved the two girls. The picture is an artist's rendition of what the girls saw. It shows a superhero-like figure with a hood and cape. David whispers to Joseph that he was right and holds a finger to his mouth to shush him. The boy looks up at his dad and David just smiles, finally accepting what Elijah and his son believed was true. David goes to meet Elijah at his art gallery, where he is having an event. David talks to Elijah's mother and tells her he finally feels like Elijah has become his friend. Elijah and David go upstairs to talk about what had happened. Now that everything is clear and David has realized Elijah's theory was true, they both shake hands. David's superhero instincts kick in. He has visions of Elijah. He is actually the one who caused the plane crash and hotel fire that he had told David about. Even the train accident that involved David was caused by Elijah. David is horrified at this discovery, and that's when Elijah drops the iconic line revealing him as the arch-villain. David leaves in pain of the horror that Elijah has caused. The movie ends with info cards reading that David informed the authorities about everything, and Elijah is taken away to a criminally insane institute. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel to watch recaps of other movies that you've missed.